Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Happy Sunday. I hope that this past week has been some great weather for running. I know that April can be a really up and down month when it comes to finding some happy weather, some weather that's not too cold, not too hot, and it kind of ebbs and flows. So I really hope that you have had some enjoyable miles this past week. So just a few housekeeping things. I am currently 3 weeks away from running my third Brooklyn half marathon. So the week that is about to come up, I have a lot of miles on my schedule, and I'm going to be taking my camera out for some of those and giving you some of the updates on how my runs are going and how my training's been going and where I stand 3 weeks out. I can't even believe it. I have not run a race since January, since the January Walt Disney World Marathon weekend. So this will be my first big race back, and I'm super excited about that. Also, next Sunday begins my May running book club, and I know I put a little video up the other day just kind of giving you what book we are going to read, and it is Bart Yasso's book, My Life on the Run. And if you are looking for an incredible book to keep you inspired, to keep you out there, to keep you waking up and getting your runs in, this book is it. I have already I could not put it down. So even though we don't start until May, I went ahead and read through it. I wanted to make sure it was the absolute right book, and it could not be any better book. It is so amazing what he has gone through, especially with his Lyme's disease and other struggles, and just the amount of races that he has run, and just the kind of person he is, and who he has been in the racing community, and the positivity, and just it's amazing, and I cannot wait to dive into this with you guys. There are so many gems, so many takeaways, and we will start that next Sunday. So next Sunday will be the first in the May Running Book Club, and I will put a link in the description box below to where you can also get your hands on a copy of Bart Yasso's book, My Life on the Run. So good, so good. So I wanted to just touch on a quick topic that is becoming a little more near and dear to my heart in the adventure that is running. And it was prompted by a class that I taught last Friday. And I teach a group of 6th graders. I do a yoga class with them on Fridays. And we were really, I was trying to create that class to be one where we were talking about teamwork, some ensemble building, and athleticism. I know a lot of them play on different sports teams. It's spring, so you definitely have track season out there. And so I wanted to touch base with all of them and see, what kind of sports were they into, maybe what were they doing at the moment. And they went around the room and told me, a lot of them are doing baseball and softball and track and field, horseback riding, dancing, all of these amazing athletic extracurricular activities. So really surrounded by amazing athletes, always including my middle schoolers. But it came around to this one young girl, and she said that she is on the track team. And someone in the crowd kind of yelled out in a kind of scoffing manner, "You couldn't even walk a mile." Don't even get me started on how I feel about that kind of negativity and talk in my classroom, let alone in my life. I kind of nip that in the bud immediately. I do not let it proceed. I have no time or patience for that in my classes. But what I did do is I kind of drew the conversation to a halt, and I told them about my own running experience and how when I was their age, as well as in high school and beyond, I was a competitive short distance runner. My big track events were the 4x400 meter and the 400 meter race, as well as 75 meter high hurdles, and occasionally a long jump here or there. But I was really a short distance runner, and I absolutely, anything that even looked like a mile, sounded like a mile, walked like a mile, or talked like a mile, I was not even close to wanting to participate in something like that because I struggled with it. That was a distance that I absolutely couldn't do. It's so much longer than 400. It's 4 times around the track, not just 1 time around the track. And I did not have what I thought was the endurance to run a mile. Now, my coach would always make me train with long distance runners because it makes you a better short distance runner. And of course, I didn't even understand that at the time, but now I do. And it was a struggle. Oh, it was on those days where I knew I was going to have to go out there and run with those long distance runners. I thought of every excuse under the sun to not make it to practice that day. I even willed myself some kind of injury, which is awful, but like if I could just get out of it in any way, could I please just start throwing up or something? And so I told them about how that felt for me when I was younger, and that years and years later, when I got back into running, I got back into distance running, and that all of these things seemed impossible to me at one time, but working hard and putting it kind of all out there, I realized that you can absolutely achieve those things that at one time felt completely larger than life, too big to accomplish. And that the struggles that I went through as a young athlete did not end up defining who I was going to be as an adult. Just because I couldn't run a mile when I was 13 years old did not mean that for the rest of my life I would never be able to run a mile. In fact, I couldn't run a mile very well when I was 13. I did not want to run a mile. I struggled and struggled and struggled with it. And lo and behold, I'm 35 years old and I am running another 26.2 miles, not to mention the countless half marathons that I have already ran. And so it got me thinking about the struggles that we go through as runners and the struggles to get past those bad runs and those bad races. And I've been there, I know you've been there, where we have days where running is just not fun. It's just not fun. And there's bad weather days, and there is good weather days, and there is bad leg days where our legs feel like lead, and there's days where all of a sudden we just feel like we could absolutely do an ultra right then and there. But those struggle runs, those struggle races, the races and the runs that just aren't what we had planned, do not define who we are in the grand scheme of our running adventure. And one of the big things I think about a lot while having watched the Boston Marathon is, you know, Des Linden said in an interview about showing up. Just keep showing up, even after a bad run, even after a struggle to get through a race, even after our expectations are completely blown out of the water because we are sidelined by an injury and it doesn't feel like we're ever going to get to that next point. You keep showing up. Show up even on the days where you have already an idea in your head that it's probably going to be a bad run. Maybe you stayed out too late the night before, maybe you didn't get the right amount of sleep, or you didn't fuel properly, and all those things, and you have a million things working against you. You still show up and you still put one foot in front of the other. You put in the hard work, you stay focused, and you get out there and you get it done, because as is everything, this too shall pass. Those struggle days, they are there, and they are meant to be there so that we can learn from them and become wiser, stronger runners and wiser, stronger athletes. They're there because life happens, and oh, how human it is that we have these bad days. But the bad days and the bad runs and the struggle runs and the struggle races do not define who we are as athletes. And not every single run of our life is going to be a bad one. Not every single race that went wrong is going to be a prediction of every other race that we have lined up. So thinking about that a lot this week, especially since yesterday my run that was supposed to be a 10-mile run actually turned into a 5-mile run because I was struggling. I was struggling through 0.5 miles. I was struggling through 3 miles. I never found that sweet spot where the run just started to become a part of what I was doing. It just was completely struggling and completely just not good, not good. And my butt hurt because I did too many butt exercises, 2 days before, and that really, I must have worked muscles I didn't realize I had in my butt. And boy, did it just pounding that pavement did not feel good. So the 10-mile run, it turned into a 5-mile run, and that's okay because I've reworked my training schedule for the week so that I could incorporate that 10-mile run. Now looking ahead, I don't know how that run's going to be, but I can say it will definitely be better than the one I just recently went on. And you know, the struggle was there. It taught me that I didn't give my body enough time to rest and that I definitely was not fueling properly and I didn't get it in when I could have, and I kept procrastinating. So just those things alone have taught me so much. So the struggles are there to teach us something, and then we move on past them. But know that if you've had a bad run lately, if you've had a bad race, it does not define you as an athlete. So if you've had a bad run or a bad race lately, I just want you to know that you are not alone in that boat, and that your struggles are going to be teaching you so much about the road ahead. And please, 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 don't take those bad runs and those bad struggles as a defeat or a failure. They are there as a touchstone. They are there as a benchmark to teach you something about yourself that maybe you weren't realizing in your training. And those bad runs and those bad races and struggles do not define you as an athlete, because you are going to come out of that stronger and wiser, and you're going to get past it, and you're going to go on, and you are going to run very happy miles in the future, because that's kind of how life works. We take the bad, we take the good, but we get out there, and as Des Linden said, keep showing up. Show up on the bad days, show up on the good days, but keep showing up. And that is what I kind of wanted to just talk about today, because it was on my mind. So I hope that this next week gives you lots of good running weather. And I want you to know I am constantly here as one of your biggest cheerleaders, cheering you on from afar, and just knowing that you are not alone in the struggle bus. I'm going through it, and we'll probably go through many, many more, but we're in this together, and we can get through this together. And subscribe to this channel if you would like to see more videos like this, or if you need encouragement out there as you're getting foot to pavement. I'm here to encourage you. I'm here to keep you going, because you guys keep me going, and I can't thank you enough for that. I look forward to taking you on my training this week, as I, again, am only 3 weeks away from the Brooklyn Half Marathon. And so, yeah. So as always, you guys are amazing. You're rock stars. You're unicorns. Fabulous, fabulous. Oh, so fabulous unicorns. So happy miles, happy running, and as always, just keep kicking butt out there, unicorns. Peace.